Thank you, Mr. Chair. Question for Mr. King. One of the things that I've been kind of confused by, and I think I know there's alternative motives behind it, and that's the mandatory meetings that employers are allowed by law to hold, to have these open discussions with employees about, could be anything from dress code to work hours to anything that they want to have. Yet there seems to be this resistance sometimes from the union to not only allowing those meetings to happen, but also to allow them to kind of play out. It's kind of a control piece that I think is part of the overall discussion. And I was wondering if you could just discuss kind of the legal aspects of the employer requiring those mandatory meetings of its employees.
Mr. Fitzgerald, first, Section 8C of the National Labor Relations Act, the free speech provision, permits employers to have those types of meetings. Second, there is a prohibition, well-established, or prohibitions in the National Labor Relations Act that employers in these meetings can't threaten, coerce, or make undue types of pressure on an employee regarding his or her views on unionization. So we already have those protections. What this is really all about is to cut off free speech. Why is it so dangerous for a worker to hear both sides or many sides of the aspects of unionization? Unions don't want these kinds of conversations to occur because in some instances, they can be very harmful to the union's campaign. They want the worker to hear only one side. And we've heard a lot about the Starbucks meetings. Well, apparently they weren't successful in certain locations. So if they're that harmful, show us the proof. I don't think it's there. This is really a very active part of a campaign throughout the PRO Act and other ways in the executive agencies to ultimately cut off free speech and communication. It's very dangerous.
And just to follow up, and I don't want to single out Starbucks, but I know that we have the witness here today, and I appreciate you being here. But my other concern is that oftentimes it's assumed and it's integrated into the overall model that they're using, that somebody would start at the bottom and work their way up to be kind of in that management level. And then to somehow stifle that individual by saying you can no longer have the same relationship you had with the workers that you're now supervising doesn't make much sense to me. But it seems that that's the case in many of these instances. Is that correct?
Well, it appears to be. And it's really interesting, Ms. Fitzgerald. We have this all-out attack primarily in small business right now, the franchisee, stores like Starbucks that are all over the country. A lot of part-time workers, people that need additional income. It's a great part of our business model in this country. Now, is every Starbucks location, every small employer perfect? No. Are there mistakes being made? There may have been. But why are we going after this so successful business model in this country? When I visit Starbucks stores, as I said in my testimony at the outset, the employees are friendly, efficient. They do a great job. I love their oatmeal. We love their coffee. Why are we attacking such a successful business model in this country? If people want to unionize, they have a right to do so. I'm not here to say anything bad about unions per se, but let's give the worker the right, and let's don't publicly shame companies for being successful.
Yeah, it's part of this conversation that I find somewhat confusing. So thank you very much. I yield back, Chair.